These politicians are like puppets. They're like in the pockets of corporations and lobbyists. Every last one of them.
I know. It's lots of greed.
I mean, we've got to say something to the government.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we should really move to Canada.
It's like no one moves to Canada. People say they're going to move to Canada, and they don't. Plus, isn't that kind of like giving up a little bit?
Yeah, I guess you're right. You know what I think? I think it's time for the reawakening of riot spray.
Your band?
You know, think about it. I refuse. I refuse that. And the government's going to be like, what's this noise?
Hey, fun fans, it's another episode of We Enjoy. No special guest this week. Sorry, just stupid fucking us. It's talking about Chucky without a third person who's super famous. It's just us, guys. Just us.
You know, I have no problem with profanity. I think it's fucking fine. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if Matt should start like right off with the cursing. But then I'm like, but Chucky, he's pretty, he throws those F-bombs around pretty prevalently. So
yeah, they started it off tonight. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric fucking Goldman.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Eric?
Good. I guess I'm lucky because I was quote unquote only on online for 2.5 hours trying to get successfully getting Disneyland tickets this morning versus friends of mine who were on for 6 hours, 12 hours.
I've seen a lot of reports online that it's almost equivalent to the SDCC hell of tickets and or hotel roulette.
Right. And so, yeah, this, which I kind of knew it would be, but I mean, this was a pretty extreme badness. So again, I was relatively lucky. I started at 7:30 a.m. and was done about 10 a.m. And I have had people that were just tweeting me that they got them. So, and we're recording this about 12 hours after that.
And what dates have opened up?
I think like someone told me, because I actually didn't know the answer to that. But I think it was like through June, maybe. And I don't quote me on that. You can quote me on that, but I'm not 100% sure. But that's what someone else told
me. I mean, I just quoted you on that. I put you on the. Sure. I put your pull quote on the back of the VHS box for Sleepers.
All right, excellent.
Next to the Rex Reed quote saying "steamy."
The best quote.
We have I'd say a medium packed show today. I'm not going to say it's jam packed every week. It's medium packed. You know, we've got Child's Play 2 at the end of this, which I adore. I really like Child's Play 2. I don't know where Chucky fans, where it falls within the oeuvre of Chuckydom, but I like it more than 1, which I really like. I like 1 a lot, obviously. I like it more than Bride, even though Bride, you know, huge tonal shift with Bride, and I know it's a lot of people's favorites. 2, I just think it's just such a tight, weird, small movie. Like it's 80 minutes of just like, it's very little fat on that movie. We'll talk about that in the main event today.
Yes. No, I very much enjoyed Child's Play 2. Not one of my very favorites, but I think it's great. And I have very fond memories of seeing it. And I've got some anecdotes about seeing it and all sorts of stuff. But you got to wait for that, folks.
Does it involve farting or the potential for farting of Chucky? Or somebody in the audience wondering if you will fart?
Unfortunately, no. It does not involve any of those things.
Well, I mean, does it need to be said then?
I hope people don't know the context of what you just asked, and it's just like they're like, that's just what part of things Matt asks. Like, does it involve farting? That's like
I mean, those are my go-to questions about any topic.
Right.
Yeah. If you didn't listen, if you didn't listen,
I was just laughing because it reminds me of the Patrick Stewart like erotic cake sketch where it's like he wants everything to be someone like peeing on, right?
As they said, that's just a woman going to the bathroom.
Right.
And he goes, but this one's chocolate.
Right. So Matt's thing is that
I remember that Patrick Stewart episode of Saturday Night Live not being the best, and yet I remember those sketches so vividly. And like the erotic cake bakery is one of those things that at the time just fell so flat, and we were like, what happened? And then over the years, it just grew into this weird, like, is this good? No, it's not. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. You go back and forth between the angel and the devil on your shoulder. I lost the thread completely here. Oh, I was going to say, if you didn't make it all the way to the end of the Child's Play podcast last time with special guest Liv Morgan, the part after we stopped, we stopped talking to Liv Morgan, and then we had a little bit of a chatter at the end, just Eric and I, and that's when we brought up the story of the Child's Play audience member who was wondering when Chucky was going to fall.
Right.
Was trying to actually predict.
He was actually making a very declarative statement that this was when it was going to happen.
But he was also trying to how when
will it? He was trying to will it. Yeah.
When you're at a red light and you're like, you're like green light, green light,
yeah,
and you're like, if it goes right after you say it, you're like, I made that happen.
Yes.
I feel like that's what he was trying to do with the Chucky and the farting. He's like, Chucky's going to fart now, and then he didn't. He still hasn't to this day. I mean, that's why there's a TV show.
After 7 movies, but maybe the TV show can deliver. We'll see.
We've got some news up top, and then we're going to get into our good things to enjoy. And then, main event time. And like I said, medium stuffed episode. Is that a type of pizza? Medium stuffed?
It could be. Why not? They've done so many different gimmick pizzas.
It's definitely a porn tag. All right. So let's talk about the fat. Oh, so one silver lining benefit to movies being delayed like a full year, we just experienced this a few weeks ago with Black Widow, is we just wind up getting a brand new trailer that we may not have gotten the first time around. We may have, but for sure we were going to get a new one before these movies launched again. So we get a whole new fantastic Fast 9 trailer, or F9 trailer. Is that what everyone's just doing, F9?
I mean, F9 is the official title. F9, The Fast Saga, is what the title card says.
I don't like that a lot.
But F9 is the name. I mean, I will say what you're saying, though. There's a good and bad to it, because there's also the familiarity breeds contempt part of it, because, Black Widow is a movie that debuted its first, if you want to call it trailer, first look. The first footage from that movie came out 2 full years when the movie opens, 2 full years before San Diego Comic-Con 2019. Then there were 2 full trailers after that. So by that trailer that recently debuted was kind of its fourth.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm more specifically talking about Fast 9, because
yeah.
we only got the one trailer before it was going up. And there is a downside to it, I suppose. In the fact, especially if you're somebody who doesn't want to get spoiled on a lot of stuff. Most of this, they're showing you huge beats from the third act of these movies. Hobbs and Shaw did that too. They basically showed you how, the final act battle was going to play out. But also, don't watch these trailers if you don't want that to happen, because that's what trailers are for action movies these days. Just don't watch them. But who can resist? Who can resist the family, Eric? Who can resist going back? No one can resist the family.
I don't know if you saw Justin Lin, because they did, again, they did quite a bit of press for this trailer. And Justin Lin did a bunch of interviews, and he talked about the fact that how much they've shown, because the trailer last year was 4 minutes and this one is 3 minutes. They were long trailers anyway. And they obviously are showing huge beats and set pieces. But it was funny because he was kind of, he was playing both sides to it, because he said on one hand, yes, they were putting in stuff that he was kind of surprised they would put in. But part of that is we want to get people back in theaters. We want to be look at the spectacle of this. So just show them cool shit. The other side of it is he was also saying, but we haven't shown you everything.
I know. But action movie trailers have been working against the storyline grain of movies forever. I just always think back to T2 and how that movie is specifically designed for at least 10 minutes to make you think Schwarzenegger is back playing the evil Terminator, and whoever the new guy is, played by Robert Patrick, is the good Terminator sent back. Or you don't even know if he's a Terminator, because you don't see him impale the guy he kills. You think he punches the guy in the stomach and then become a cop. And also he's dressed like a cop, so you think he's there to serve and protect. And then
everyone loves cops.
Yeah, everyone loves cops, especially LAPD. And then that moment with the hallway switcheroo, where you're supposed to go, oh shit, I was wrong the whole time. Well, the trailer gave that all away, and going in that Schwarzenegger was the good Terminator. So trailers have never benefited twists at all. I mean, unless it's like a super protected one, like Sixth Sense or something like that.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean, there's two sides. There's that, which was like a legitimate, like, again, first act, but still, yes, the way the movie was written was clearly meant to play with your expectations for that moment, but then the way they promoted it, we all knew. But then there's also just something like with the show, the cool big action beats. I always think of, and there's other examples, but one that's always leaps to mind is Avengers, the first Avengers, showing Hulk catching Iron Man. Because it's a great visual of like Iron Man's flying down and he's gonna die, and Hulk catches him.
He didn't die.
He didn't die. So then in the movie, it's this big moment of, Tony falling, but I know exactly what's going to happen in that moment because I saw it in many, many commercials and trailers.
I remember, I've tangents. But when we were talking to Liv Morgan, we were talking about the first Child's Play, and we brought up the fact that like Chucky did not die after he Andy says, "This is the end, friend," and it's this cool blow off, fuck off line, like, and he lights him on fire, and it's really cool. But he comes back a few times actually after that, but even though it sounds like a really cool action movie thing to say, when you dispatch the villain finally, and I was like, there has to be another instance where a hero says something really cool, and it's not the end. And I remember what it is. I was trying to think of something specifically, and I remember what it was because it's been on cable a lot, so I've had it on the background, which is Speed. And the trailer, they set up the pop quiz line that Jeff Daniels says, and then they show you the end when Keanu says it to Dennis Hopper. And he's like, "You've got a hair trigger point at your head. What do you do?" That is not the end. Like, that is not a cool thing. He like in that moment, you realize that Sandra Bullock is wearing a bomb vest, and he's like, "Oh, I just wasted a cool line." And he even says in the movie, just like Andy in Child's Play.
Yeah, and Speed, which already is in the midst of that point of adding on. And I love Speed, but it's just they conclude the issue that is the main tagline of the movie, and then there's still another thing to do.
Yeah, there's still a third act. This third act, the bus is saved.
Arguably, it's a fourth act. I mean, Casino Royale has this too, and it's like, we did everything. Wait, there's something else to do, and you kind of. And it's always a mileage will vary if that works as a fun thing, or if you feel like, oh, this is going on too long. But I think both those cases they pull it off.
You know what Casino Royale really needed? Alan Ruck. All right, let's talk about the F9 trailer. So F9, Cena, heel turn Cena. We finally was Cena a heel in any other movie? Is this his first villainous role in wrestling and in cinema?
I mean, he's played douchebags now, several comedic douchebags.
I think he's kind of a douchebag in WWE too. So
I know, but like he's very funny on screen, and he's very willing to just be the brunt of the joke, make fun of his persona. And so, why am I forgetting the Amy Schumer movie he was in? And like all these movies where it's like where he can just be like a douche, like a big buff douche. But as far as like an actual movie villain like The Rock in Doom, this might be
that was the twist in Doom, Nash. I mean, Eric, you gave it away. You gave away the Doom twist.
Because I've never seen Doom.
That's a twist.
Don't think I'm letting go that you call me by your son's name just now.
Well, you know how I feel about you. My babies, all my babies.
Though of course The Rock, what am I saying? He started out the Mummy Returns. He was the bad. He was a very bad digital villain.
But was he a villain, or was he like the Winter Soldier? You know what I mean? Like, was he even himself? Is what I'm saying.
He wasn't himself because
we saw the Scorpion King prequel movie, and he was pretty good in that. So this movie's got Cena's official first heel turn. I'm making it so. I'm calling it. It's got just about everyone from the Fast franchise.
Except for two notable people who went on to a spinoff.
Well, it still has one of their moms.
It has again. I'm like, Helen Mirren is the again. I
she's the bridge between them. Yeah,
she's the bridge. I mean, Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel, who pretty famously, especially for the fact that they try to control their image a lot. Like if it's very out there in the open, their issues. I know they kind of tried to squash it when Hobbs and Shaw came out, and there was some congratulatory back and forth between them. with like Diesel being like, oh yeah, congratulations, oh thanks brother. Like there was like they were trying to like squash it a bit publicly, but it seemed like Helen Mirren is like, yeah, she's the Switzerland, she is the go-between. She will be the connective
she's the umbilicus that between the main franchise
maybe she
lines.
sat them down and said, you need to
if she was the mediator, that would be great. Anyway, she's in a full action scene in this. She gets to drive a car doing some car tricks. And
Dom is driving with her, not the opposite.
Yeah, well, you know what? I bet he got into that seat, but then she's like, "This is a British car."
Because he's going to put his hands out, going on the steering wheel, and then he's going to look over, and she's going to look at him with this little wink or a little sly look because she's got the.
Somehow she's drinking tea. Yeah, I don't know. And then so she's in it. Sean vomit. Han, we knew Han was in it. Han's back. There's magnets at the end. The car flies.
You said Sean. Let's not gloss over the fact that not all the Tokyo Drift cast, but several of them are back, including Bow Wow. I'm guessing just in that scene. It seems like that's the let's all get together and welcome Han back to life party.
You think he's just in the barbecue scene? He doesn't get to fly into space with everyone else?
I'm guessing no. I certainly don't think that the other two guys, I don't remember. Twinkie is Bow Wow's character. I forget the other guy's name, who was kind of like their techie guy. I think they're only in that one scene. Maybe Sean's in one or two more scenes, but I also wouldn't be shocked if Sean's only in that scene. So.
He better only be in one scene.
This is Justin Lin's return to the franchise, and he introduced all the Tokyo Drift characters, and it was his introduction to the franchise.
Again, they're his babies. Like, you're my baby, they're his baby. And also, man, yeah. I mean, this just looks really exciting. Like, I can't wait.
It looks super fun.
It looks really fun.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and I'm in. And I will just say the last thing I'll say on Cena is that, again, because this movie got delayed a full year, suddenly it's the summer of Cena because Suicide Squad opens like 8 weeks after this, maybe less. So it's like it'll be a big summer for John Cena.
Right. So this one gets to be the first heel turn because he's kind of a villain.
This gets to be the first. Yeah, and then he gets a TV show spinoff out of Suicide Squad. So it's like this whole summer is a great way to promote like John Cena. Now he's a movie and TV star. He's getting his own show after this. Look at him in these giant movies. I mean, Fast 9 is going to be very difficult to not be the number one movie of the year with everything that's been delayed and pushed to next year and whatnot. I mean, Fast 9 has a very, very, very good chance, better than ever, of being the number one movie, especially with the summer being a much quiet. There's going to be several big movies, but they're way more spread out than we're used to. It's not the one a week thing. So I think Fast 9 will have a very nice run there.
The speaking of Cena, you and I recorded a We Enjoy Wrestling.
We did
episode all about WrestleMania. I only bring that up because Cena was not at this WrestleMania. It was the first WrestleMania he has not been a part of since 2002. So he's super busy filming all the things and was not a part of this.
And COVID, and there's the COVID of it. I'm sure it's the COVID because he's filming Peacemaker, and it's the restrictions on filming. He can't just fly to do Mania.
No. Just to go out and do a production, you have to usually, depending where it is, you have to quarantine for a few weeks just before you can get into places. I've been watching people online like going nuts in hotel rooms, like Amy Acker or even Devon Sawa, before they can go into Canada to film something because they got to sit there in a hotel room by themselves for 14 days. So they're just all over Instagram and being silly.
No.
All right.
And then I was a show I hadn't watched in many years, but Shameless just had its finale this past week, and sure enough, they said yes, Emmy Rossum was supposed to come back, not even just for the finale. It sounds like she was going to do several episodes, but she lives in New York and they film in LA, and it just was not possible to have her fly over to film a couple episodes and fly back and come back for the finale. That just was
wow, I didn't know that.
feasible.
Like, I stopped watching that after season 2 because you know what, it was just so shameless, Eric.
Right, it's too shameless.
Way too shameless.
I probably made it one or two more than you, but yes. So it sucks, right? Like it ruined the plans for her to come back. The Supernatural finale was supposed to have many more guest stars than they had. I mean, there are
yeah, literally at the end of Supernatural, they're like, He lists
They're
all
here.
the,
They're over here.
He lists all the names. He's like, yeah, they're just over the hill there.
He's like, he's actually takes out the script and says, "Here's who you would have seen."
Yeah,
And
he's like, let me see that. Dean's flipping through the thing. Yeah,
right. Oh, this would have been great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very emotional.
Oh, Jensen Ackles too, also gone nuts in the hotel room over on Instagram, waiting to be a part of the boys. So,
oh really?
Yeah, he's been quarantined too.
I know they're doing is Apatow is producing that movie that's about a movie being made under these conditions. Do you see that with Karen Gillan and a bunch of people? They're like instantly doing it. But I was like, because one pivot on that would be the idea of like, if like Amy Acker and Jensen Ackles were in like adjacent hotel rooms, not going to go to the same project, if they just happen to be quarantining in the same hotel.
Yeah.
Talk to each other thugh the wall.
Well, first of all, Acker and Ackles should have either be a law firm or they need to do a movie together immediately. Very quickly, because Eric doesn't like me talking about casting news. Lucy Liu has joined Shazam. Janina Gavankar has joined Borderlands. Diego Luna
for her, but I don't know the game.
And Diego Luna is now part of Last of Us.
One day I'll play it.
Well, you'll play Last of Us. You're not going to play Borderlands, though.
No, I probably won't play Borderlands. I'll play.
I think you will enjoy Borderlands. You would like.
I mean, I'm sure I would. There's so many things I enjoy. You know, this week it came up the discourse because there was. I realized I was part of the problem in that like amplifying some random douchebag, but because there was that whole thing about
that's so Darth Revan thing.
Yeah. The whole thing of like, you're not a real Star Wars fan and you don't even know who Darth Revan is. And because I did my tweet about like, stupid gatekeeping bullshit, I had some people very politely, I didn't have any like assholes come at me, but some people were like, you actually would very much enjoy Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm like, I bet I will. And I bet I'll never play it, but I bet I'd enjoy it. But there's just not enough time, guys.
Yeah, it's not like you didn't play it because you thought you would hate it.
Right. I'm not like, fuck, a Star Wars game? That's the last thing I want to play. Ugh. It's just that, yeah.
All right. Well,
just a lot of life.
Some casting news that is approved for this podcast is Indiana Jones 5. Indy 5 has cast this week Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah,
who is joining, we can assume is the villain, but it hasn't been stated definitively.
I will say someone made the good point because it's like we're all assuming he's the villain because 90% of the time he is the villain. Especially, he's in a crazy amount of giant franchises now. It's like he's Bond.
No, he is the Grand Slam champ.
Yeah,
he's Bond.
MCU,
he's MCU.
Now he's in the Wizarding World.
He's in Harry Potter, Star Wars, and and now Indy. And so, he's got 5 under his belt.
But the only time he played a good guy was Star Wars, which was another Lucasfilm movie. So maybe there's the Lucasfilm thing. Maybe they'll cast him as a good guy.
Do we know Waller? Also, we should mention that John Williams is returning to score the film, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge joined last week? Last
Friday.
Week.
Yeah, it was
like after we had recorded. Phoebe
Yeah.
Waller-Bridge, who we brought up earlier in our podcast run on We Enjoy as being part of the reboot for with Donald Glover of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But
also from Solo: A Star Wars Story. So all the people they're casting in this movie have been in Star Wars Story movies. all 2 of them.
Oh my goodness. He's really cool. He's really fun. And honestly, I kind of don't want him to be the villain.
I want her to be the villain, him to be the buddy.
Yeah, why not? Also,
and then go. You say
no. I was just gonna say, like, do we think that this movie? There definitely maybe was something in Crystal Skull where they were trying to do a pass the torch type thing. Like maybe Mutt or maybe Shia LaBeouf was going to go forward as the lead of the franchise. Do we still think they're trying to do that? And maybe Waller-Bridge is going to go forward as it, or Maz, or somebody else? Or...
I think it's impossible not to assume that. So this time more than Crystal Skull, because yes, Crystal Skull, you could imagine that was something they had in mind at the time. But then, of course, they end the movie with him grabbing the hat back and whatnot. But this movie, they are saying in the press release, the final Indiana Jones movie, right? And I think that's one way they get around, like, because everyone's like, Jesus Christ, Harrison Ford he'll turn 80 right before this movie opens if it sticks to its release date. So he'll be 79 while he's making it. And because they know everyone's like, oh my God, he's so old, I think they're making sure to say this is the final one. On the other hand, no one doesn't think about franchises. And while I think they know right now they cannot cast a new Indiana Jones, you feel like someone in this movie has to be a character that they're thinking about for a spinoff. And so Waller-Bridge is one like immediate assumption. like, oh, a protege, a funny protege, and she can take over. But then again, who knows? It could be a switcheroo, and she could be the bad guy. Someone tweeted to me that Mads Mikkelsen should play the son of Indiana Jones and Willie Scott, and now I want nothing more than Mads Mikkelsen to say "Papa" to be his child.
Well, somebody was saying, like, I can already hear him saying Dr. Jones. Somebody tweeted at me, and I was saying, like, I really hope the sentence is, Dr. Jones, I see you're here to seek revenge for me murdering Mutt off screen, or...
Right. Also, there was a funny tweet when someone pointed out that if you go by the date of birth for Indiana Jones, which is like in 1899, and yada yada, real time, whatnot, that this movie could and should take place in 1977. So Indiana Jones could go see Star Wars was the joke of that tweet. But then it's like kind of strange just to think about, like, whoa, yeah, well, Indiana Jones would be like in the 70s in this movie, like in the 1970s. Which seems very odd, but then I think you could do that because the movie won't stay in the city. Like if it began in like a 1970s city, then they'll go to the jungle, So it can be like Indiana Jones can be looking around being like, oh, this sucks. And then he can go to where he feels at home, Matt.
Yeah, he's like, get me out amongst the sarcophaguses.
Keep talking because I unplugged my mic.
Oh, what happened to you? I can hear you.
Okay. There we go.
Eric had a mic issue. He knocked his.
I got so excited that my foot pulled the cord out of my mic.
All right, let's briefly talk about. One thing.
One last thought, which is just that John Williams coming back surprised me because he is also getting very old and he's not doing nearly as much work and you wouldn't expect him to. He shouldn't. But he finished the Star Wars, Skywalker saga, which was great that he got to do that. And then I thought, they're bringing him back because they're saying this is the last Indiana Jones movie too. So, Spielberg's not directing it, but they're like, oh, Williams can come back and finish this series as well. So I think that's cool that he's doing that.
Who is directing it?
It's why am I forgetting Logan's director? Why am I forgetting his name? He's really good director. Copland. Why?
Mangold. James Mangold.
James Mangold. Yes, is directing this film.
And because he did Logan, of the Mangler. Yeah.
Yeah, because he did Logan, so now it's like, oh, he does the final movie, like the old man movie. That's his thing. He'll do like old man Ethan Hunt one day, maybe.
I mean, Ethan Hunt is already. How old is?
Well, he's 60. He's
yeah, so he's as old as Connery was when he did Last Crusade. Cruise
but that Tom Cruise has its own aging process. So
that John Slattery was
15.
John Slattery was younger than us when he started on Mad Men.
That's ridiculous. That's a lie. That's slander.
I believe so. I saw it on a tweet. It could be completely
no. There's a lot of crazy shit like that because, like I mentioned before, I listened to the Zach to the Future podcast, and Mark Paul Gosselaar has pointed out that Dennis Haskins was like 37 or something when that show began. And he's like, I'm several years older than Dennis Haskins is now. Dennis Haskins was when that show began. Like Mark Gosselaar's like, I'm many years older now than he was doing this show. And yeah, brain can't compute.
Oh my goodness.
Who knows?
You and I have, I think we mentioned that we both manked. But yes. One of the interesting thing about Mank is that every scene in that movie, because the movie, not to spoil too much of the movie, but there's flashbacks and it's total out of sequence. It's basically it's not a linear movie. It's there's flashbacks and then present day being what, like 1942 or something.
Which Sepinwall's been on such a rant about with TV shows doing that I was like, did Mank make him mad or was Mank okay? Because Mank is making sure it's part of the artifice, right? Like flashback, like it's embracing that this is what it's doing.
Anyway, my point is that at every point of that movie, no matter what time it's taking place, Gary Oldman is supposed to be younger than both of us.
Oh yeah. He's supposed to be like half his little age. It's very silly. Like it's you can make the much older actor with younger actress, except that in this case he's supposed to be playing so much younger than he is. But that's Hollywood for you.
Okay. Joey wrote in on Patreon, and I didn't do any of the business up top, but over on Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/We Enjoy Podcast. For $2 a month, you can get a commercial-free version of this podcast. Eric and I are also on Twitter at the Matt Fowler and the Eric Goldman. podcast can be found at We Enjoy Podcast on Twitter. And Jory writes in, this is Child's Play 2 related, so we'll get to that in just a moment when we head into the main event. But Jory writes in, I saw a clip of Child's Play 2 on Siskel and Ebert when I was 5, and it terrified me. I had a My Buddy doll, which was my only friend at the time. See, these were creepy dolls for lonely kids, like I said. Later that day, he went in the garbage. When I was 11, I watched Child's Play 2 with my human friends, and Charles Lee Ray murdered his way into my heart, and he's been a part of my life ever since. So at 5, he wasn't ready for the reality that was Child's Play. Okay.
I also want to mention, if you can please rate us on Apple, we'd appreciate that.
5 stars.
And subscribe if you haven't.
Yes, and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Smash.
But don't break your keyboard.
Smash that burger at Smash Burger. And let's see. What's your good thing to enjoy this week, Eric?
Oh, I just jotted it down because I hadn't thought of anything, and so I just put something that had a title that was reminiscent of your title because I was trying to think of something.
It is kind of.
You go first, since I just thought that I was going to.
Oh, since you just thought of it, okay. My good thing to enjoy this week, and usually also you're the one who hunts down where that can be streamed. I didn't do that because you usually do that, so I didn't think to.
I'll find it for you.
You find it while I ramble about what. I don't know. One of my favorite movies. I will always watch it when it's on TV or on cable or just in the background, or I own it on Vudu, so I'll just watch it anyway. It's from 1997. It is Grosse Point Blank, and it stars John Cusack, Minnie Driver, Alan Arkin, Dan Aykroyd, and Joan Cusack, and a couple other Cusacks too. It's a whole Cusack affair.
Is Anne in there?
Anne is in there. Yes, Bill is in there. And Jeremy Piven's in the movie, along with Hank Azaria. K. Todd Freeman, who you would know from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Michael Kudlitz in pre Michael Kudlitz role, Jenna Elfman, and some of these are pre fame roles. But anyway, Grosse Point Blank, I think, is just a tight, effective, clever fucking movie, and I can always watch it. Minnie Driver, with this and Good Will Hunting, she's so charming and fun that she elevates in both movies, she elevates the girlfriend role, which is sort of a really thankless role.
Yeah. And
in this one specifically, she has a lot more sort of emotions to run through than maybe she did in Good Will Hunting. But John Cusack in this movie plays an assassin who is going to his high school reunion. And because this movie takes place in 97, and the high school, so he graduated in the 80s. And so the movie also has with it. And I don't know, I'm trying to think back then in the 90s, what movies very purposely had an era soundtrack.
I mean, the other one that was very near this movie's release, of course, was Romeo and Michelle.
Yes, exactly. There was another high school reunion movie, which was also very good, but very different than this movie. Both comedies, though. This is more of an action comedy. This one actually has murder, where I don't think anyone died in Romeo and Michelle. Right. But I do know that one of the things that Tarantino helped really usher into many different genres of movies was the idea of music juxtaposing what you're seeing on the screen. Like, what you're seeing on the screen might be really harrowing and violent, but the music is really silly.
Right.
Like and Tarantino with Pulp Fiction really helped sort of like popularize that. And this movie does that really well too, because there's some fight scenes set to some 80s songs and they just sort of clash really well and make for a lot of fun scenes. I could go into the the director or the writings team of this movie, but it's not as interesting as just the cast. I know Cusack also contributed to the script, and it's just really snappy, really fun. It's sassy, but it's not mean. I don't know.
Sassy. I don't know if I've heard you use that word before.
Well, now that's sassy. All I'll use.
Cusack. Cusack co-writing it got a lot of attention at the time because, and then he also did High Fidelity, of course, which was also a very good movie. So it
was a very different movie as well.
Did well for himself.
So
wasn't the director of this also directed another movie I liked quite a bit that I haven't seen in 30 years, which is Miami Blues? George
I
R.
only saw that once and I barely remember it. I saw it in the theater. That was
That's
Alec
my thing.
Baldwin and
I
Jennifer
saw it
Jason
after
Leigh.
that. I saw it in the theater, but I also saw it on cable, and I liked it a lot. But I haven't seen it in so long that I can't tell you much about it, or if I'd still like it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, do you find where it's streaming, if at all?
It's not streaming anywhere, but it's legally you can buy or rent it everywhere.
I feel like it's always on. Maybe because I always have it on. Maybe it's me.
No, it's a great movie, super fun. Yeah, I guess you can say Pulp Fiction influenced only in that I think it got greenlit because it's like, oh, murder and comedy, sure, because it's doing its own thing. But I just think in the mid '90s you could get a movie greenlit pretty easily with that combo because of Pulp Fiction. Disney.
Yeah, John Cusack plays a guy who basically left his girlfriend, I think, on prom night.
Mm-hmm.
Because he realized that he was a psychopath and like he had no moral compass, and so he became a killer. Like he literally left her to protect her, but for all everyone knows, he just vanished. Nobody knows what happened to his character until he shows up to this high school reunion, including her, who is notably distraught, also curious, and like, where have you been? And I think it works really well. Do you think this? Because I'm trying to categorize this movie. I feel like, some of the other things we've recommended may be a little more obscure than this movie. Or is this obscure? Is this a cult movie? I know it wasn't a financial hit.
It was a hit, and it's a cult movie because I don't think it's a movie necessarily like young people now are always being told about in a way that like most people have familiarity with Back to the Future, And
I'm not saying it was a summer blockbuster, but yeah, like
yeah. I think some people might know it, some might not. I mean, the one thing that people won't have that we had was the sort of subversive idea of Cusack doing this movie, because Cusack had been so iconic if you were an 80s kid, because he did several iconic 80s movies as a high school student, playing a high school student. So the idea of like Lloyd Dobler became a hitman, which is the way I'm sure this movie was sold in some executive's office.
Cusack did get to use the kickboxing training
yes.
that he literally kept up with because of Say Anything. Because of Lloyd Dobler being a kickboxer in that movie. So it does come in handy in Grosse Pointe Blank.
A very entertaining movie, really fun. I haven't seen it in a while, but you make me really want to rewatch it. Cusack's so strange Cusack's one of those guys that I'm always like, what happened exactly in the last decade where because 97 was a huge year for him because he had this and he had Con Air. So he had like a huge like mega budget action movie that was like, Con Air is so funny because it took a lot of like character actors and put them in this big hit action movie. And he was one of them. But then he had this movie, which was like a labor of love. And then he kept doing a ton of notable big stuff. And that goes through the early 2000s when he's, doing 2012 and 1408 and a lot of movies with numbers in their title. And he does Hot Tub Time Machine. And then after that, almost everything I'm seeing is like direct to video.
Yep, it's all VOD stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm always like, what happened exactly? There's a couple actors like this, and one funny case is the movie Dragon Blade, which I've seen, which is Jackie Chan. It was like a Chinese produced movie, but it's got Cusack and Adrian Brody, who both had this happen to them, which were like acclaimed actors, very solid careers, who suddenly do like a bunch of straight to video stuff or overseas stuff that I guess they get paid a lot for to not work too many days on. But just I don't know, curiosity.
I would argue that Cusack, though, before his big year in 1997, like he was for all intents and purposes, he was a child actor. Like he did so many movies in the 80s. Like he did a lot.
And the early 90s, you're absolutely correct. Like he was working, but nothing was like a huge thing for him. Actually, I
think he was a huge thing within, like he headlined movies.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
I think he within a specific genre. Now we're talking about a genre shift here with these other movies, but he was, I think you could argue that the career he had before 1997 was a career people would die for, Oh
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny, his most notable early 90s movie that he was the lead in, not like the player or something where he popped up in. I'm like, oh, it's Bullets Over Broadway, the Woody Allen movie that he was the lead in, which was a hit and which inspired a Broadway musical. Just an interesting career because he's one of those guys who's just like kind of ups and downs and came and went. He was recently on that Amazon Utopia, which was a remake of a UK show.
Yeah, that's right.
Got canceled, but it was still notable to me that he was doing like a very mainstream, like, you know, because everything he does I barely heard of in the past decade, and because I have a lot of affection for him, even though he sounds like he might be kind of a dick, and I hate that he turned on Better Off Dead, but a very talented guy, and he's very like important to my childhood, so I have a lot of affection for him as a persona. So I was glad he was doing that show. It didn't seem to work, but you know, who knows what's next for Mr. Cusack.
Who knows what? You ever see The Grifters? We can talk about The Grifters.
Grifters is great.
All right. What's your movie?
My movie, and literally I forgot to pick something, and then I literally think I was looking at Matt's title and thought of the title that sounded similar. So he did Gross Point Blank, and I'm doing Class Action Park,
which is like like three names or three words.
Yeah.
Blank, park, gross, class. Yeah,
Yes,
I think it all lines up.
Let's do a double bill. And some of you may have seen it. I mean, certainly it got some press last time. You know, it got some press as one of the first things that people were noticing on HBO Max, because HBO Max kind of, you know, poorly for them, launched without a Mandalorian, launched without any big, like, you got to check this out title. But Class Action Park, which I think premiered maybe a few weeks after they debuted, is a documentary about the infamous Action Park theme park in New Jersey, which I knew about because I do watch, besides the fact that there was that Johnny Knoxville movie that was based on it a few years ago, which I can't remember what that was, Action Point, I think that one called itself. Yeah. But I also watched the Defunctland YouTube channel, which is like kind of mini documentaries about both theme park rides, but also sometimes just entire theme parks of the past. And they did one on Action Park. And so I knew from that kind of the gist of it and the insanity of it. But this is a full documentary movie about Action Park, which is, you know, this very infamous theme park that, you know, the whole thing was that it was rides that were not kind of like signed off on by the best people and could kill you, and sometimes did, and that it was just kind of this like insanity. One of the things in the documentary is like they talk about how it's like something that kind of wouldn't be allowed to exist now, but in this like 1980s period was just kind of allowed. That is like, yeah, this is the very dangerous theme park where the teenagers just flood into,
but also run and supervised by teenagers,
right? Not owned by, but like a lot of the like managers were very young teenagers who just,
and they just fucked around and weren't trained to do anything, you know,
right? No, it was rides that weren't, you know, properly done in the first place, and then you got them run by people who haven't been trained properly. Bad combo, but that was kind of part of the appeal. There was this, so like, oh, you came off that ride and you got like a terrible bruise or a terrible cut. That's like part of it. And there was pictures they'd post of that stuff. And some of the rides, it kind of like escalates as far as like the insanity of it. And there's a dark and somber side to it too, because that one point in the documentary is pretty damn serious about the fact that they kind of use one person, that they could use anyone, because several people died. They kind of go into this and it gets heavy, which it should, because you kind of have to deal with that too, because it's easy to joke about, but also like, fuck, people died here. But at the same time, they kind of look at the fact that the people who quote unquote survived it look back on it with affection, because it's kind of a crazy, like, wow, what a crazy thing. Like, it's like any story you might tell about like a crazy night, or the night we got in a car accident, but we skidded out and luckily we all walked away from. So that's it. There's a couple familiar faces in it. Chris Gethard and Alison Becker, as far as like comedians or comedic actors you might recognize because they frequented it. And so Gethard's like a very big go-to in the movie because he's very funny and he has a lot of great stories about going there. But yeah, just a kind of insane thing. As someone who's like big into theme parks too, the idea that this existed, and I have friends who went to it, and I know people that are like, oh my God. And some of them understood it was dangerous, and some would look back and go like, holy shit, I had no idea it was this dangerous. But yeah, it's
I grew
fascinating
up
to watch.
Yeah, I grew up close to Action Park. It was across the Hudson River in northern New Jersey. So I grew up with the commercials. Like, I never went to Action Park. Also, I was a scared child, so there was no way you were getting me into,
as we've established,
in the fucking Action Park. So, but I saw the commercials quite a bit. Like, if you grew up in the New York in a certain era, you knew the commercials for Action Park. You knew the Westchester County Fair commercials. You knew, regional commercials that. Yeah, I agree. This is also a very sort of interesting phenomenon / time capsule documentary that, if you remember it, it gives you way more information about it than maybe you ever realized. And if you never heard of it, it's fascinating to learn that this ever existed in the first place, and that it went on for so long before it eventually got shut down when it should have been shut down.
Right? Yeah,
absolutely,
like,
immediately.
It was really. And they go into even how that was, like, legally, how they got around some of this shit. It's a lot. It's a pretty crazy story, and it's on HBO Max, so that's where you can watch that.
All right. Child's Play 2 spoilers will follow.
For Child's Play 3 is also on Netflix. So for next week, you can watch Child's Play 3.
Oh, good. It's already on Netflix. After that, what do we got to do? Hunt for things, maybe?
I think one other. I think like Seed is and Bride isn't, or something like that. Right. Again, the streaming rights is all crazy.
So we're still in the Child's Play era, meaning the movies actually are called Child's Play. That'll end soon. But
but I meant to tweet this. Spoiler for a tweet I'm going to send. But on Apple, I thought this was fascinating. On Apple, it says Chucky 2 has the logo. Child's Play 3 still says Child's Play 3, but someone at Apple decided to relabel it Chucky 2, even though the series was still being called Child's
What was the
Play.
tagline for Child's Play 2, Eric? Was it Sorry, Jack, Chucky's back?
Yeah. I was going to say it was such a great tagline. It was the whole campaign built around this tagline. And that teaser trailer, the first teaser, because this was the era, I've tweeted about this before, we would get all the time, it happens once in a while now, but all the time, even for random slasher sequels, trailers shot just for the trailer, where they'd take time to be
Jason Takes Manhattan, looking out over the skyline of New York. Yeah,
Jason Lives with the cemetery. So Child's Play 2 had the Jack in the Box, and it was like in 1988, which is so funny because it's only 2 years later. Like the voiceover makes it sound like this happened years ago, and it's like something about the terror, blah blah blah, and it's slowly going around, dun, 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 and then ending with, instead of the Jack in the Box opening, it being smashed by a foot. You pan up and it's Chucky going, "Sorry, Jack, Chucky's back." And that was the teaser in its entirety. They would use that for all the trailers too, just as like a beat in the trailer, having him stomp it.
And that's when he farts.
Yeah,
it's not like he
smashes the box to mask the fart. But if
that's true. Also, it's not technically canon because it was just shot for this trailer. So
yes,
it's a fart out of continuity.
But no, they went all in on that. I have the poster to this movie. I still have it's the same poster I've had for 30 years. It is all the corners are totally fucked up because it's had all the push pin tears from where I took it down, but it's in my bathroom right now. I see it as I get out of the shower every morning, and the poster is him with a Jack in the Box, and in this case, the Jack in the Box is popped out. You see the little clown, but Chucky's got the shears.
Well, the Jack in the Box is also terrified. The little
is terrified because Chucky's going to cut its head off, and it says, "Sorry, Jack, Chucky's back." So at least
he apologized to Jack.
Yes,
he's like, "Look, I'm sorry, but I'm back now, and so you're going to have to die." Child's Play 2, I mentioned a little bit at the top of this podcast, a few of the reasons why I like it so much. One is that it's 80 minutes long. Like it's just, it's a lean, mean movie.
Tight movie. Yeah.
It's a tight 80. Like you know how we love a tight 90. This is a tight 80, but you rarely get
how many times you can watch this and then, instead of watching the Snyder Cut?
I know. Usually 80-minute movies are only reserved for, kind of bad animated movies, like if it's animated...
I wouldn't say even bad. I would just say animated movie.
Well, I know Toy Story is super short, but
they've gotten longer, Matt. I think in the past, like Disney and Pixar have started to get them longer. But I think if you looked up to Toy Story, most of the beloved Disney movies were also.
I just associate the 80-minute movies with the kind of garbage knockoff animated movies that I rented for all my kids as they grew up through the years that weren't like the mainstream animated movies. And they were all 80 minutes,
right?
Like Happily Never After 3, or just, there are the mockbusters. And then there's also like the, none of my kids watched like the knockoff Frozens, but they were out there. You know what I mean? Like, I always associate the 80-minute animated movies with kind of trash. But anyway, 80-minute horror movie sequel that really works. And it's commendable for that. And also for the fact that, like, you making a Child's Play sequel, you really want Chucky. You can have Chucky do anything. You can have him face anyone. You can have, like, the sky's the limit. But the fact that they kept it about Andy, and brought Alex Vincent back playing Andy and followed up that story in particularly. They could have just gone off like Predator 2 did, mentioned Andy and his mom briefly as exposition and what happened in that case. Now we're in a new city. Now we're in a new suburb or wherever, and it's a new Chucky situation. They didn't. They kept it in Chicago about Andy, and they didn't have to. And maybe they just were like, look, this kid is a really good actor. It really worked well. We should use him again. I also really like the fact, and we'll get into this a little in a few minutes more, but they set this movie up to make you kind of think, and this is the way I feel, Eric. I don't know what the consensus is. You kind of think that the MCU's Jenny Agutter, who plays Joanne, the foster mom in this movie,
and American Werewolf in London's Jenny Agutter, yes,
is going to be his new kind hero mom,
right? Because the foster dad's a dick. Garrett Graham's
also
character.
Okay, so he's a dick. Also, he's right. So he's an asshole,
but he's also not. It's like weird because they obviously must know Andy's story, so he's so doesn't give a shit about Andy's
I mean, I'm saying he's
trauma.
a dick, but also if they had just listened to him from the beginning, they would be alive. I'm saying even Joanne at the end was like, I should have listened to him after he was dead. I'm just saying, like, you can be more than one thing. He's an asshole,
very nuanced,
but he was correct. Okay. But yeah, you think that it's going to maybe come down, at least in the first act of this movie, to another situation where it's like Andy, his new quote unquote mom, and
Mother
Chucky.
figure. Yeah.
And those parents sort of get taken out at the end of the second act, and it's really morphs into this friendship between Andy and Christina Lisa's Kyle. So I thought that was an interesting setup in its own right. I think these are really interesting story beats that you wouldn't expect to be in, basically a horror sequel or a Child's Play sequel. I just thought interesting use of storytelling here.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of interesting things behind the scenes too. So first and foremost is the studio shift, which was just a crazy situation because the first was such a huge hit. A sequel was a no-brainer. And then right then MGM got sold, and I wish I could find the article because I actually found it a couple years ago. Like I found the LA Times or someone's article about the fact that MGM had a new owner. It was an Australian owner. They were very kind of conservative and uptight. And they want to know nothing to do with Child's Play, despite it being a big hit. They're like, we don't make this filth. And so that is why the franchise switched studios at that point to Universal, who has made it ever since, except for the remake, which we'll get to in a few weeks. So that's the behind the scenes of that. But what's even more interesting in a way on the creative side is the writer-director thing, because Don Mancini writes the first movie, and what happens next is so standard, which is he writes a script people are excited by, he sells it, and then they don't keep him on. Other people rewrite the script. John LaFia rewrites the script, and then Tom Holland himself, who's hired to direct it, not Spider-Man, he rewrites the script. A lot changes drastically. The entire Charles Lee Ray idea is brought into it. The voodoo is brought into it. Yeah, Chucky and Andy were in that script that Mancini wrote, but so much of the lore does come from the rewrites. So it's so fascinating to me because usually that would mean because he was the first of three writers, he got heavily rewritten. That would be it for him in this series. But David Kirshner, who produced the entire series, they obviously clicked. I think he's even said he might have brought Mancini might have come in a little during the editing process, which again, very rare for writers who already been kind of replaced on a project. And so it's just so this thing happens here where Mancini returns. Tom Holland doesn't return. I don't know why he didn't, but Mancini, the writer, returns, and now he's got to deal with Charles Lee Ray, and he's got to deal with the voodoo, but he's like, he goes all in on it. Like, to his credit, he's not like, fuck that shit, I didn't care about it. He's like, okay, this is what I'm given. Brad Dourif's the voice, which obviously happened, we know, like way in post-production. I know what Chucky sounds like now, which is probably nothing what he imagined originally, but he just goes with it. And then also, by the way, John LaFia, who was that second writer on the first one, directs this movie. So David Kirshner must have just, I don't know, but been like, these are my guys. Yeah. But I think it's, yeah, like you said, it's really cool that because already you had the Friday 13th movies and even Elm Street, although Elm Street kind of tried to double back into their lore a little more by bringing Nancy back in 3. But Friday the 13th certainly was like, whatever, different people each movie for the most part. Like, it's just Jason's your constant. Maybe we bring someone back and we kill them right away, or maybe we just mention them, but we're moving on. But yeah, for them to be like, no, Andy's returning. It's still going to be him as the main character. We're going to follow this. The voodoo rules are still apply. That was just a kind of a fun thing if you were into these movies. And I think this movie is a very, very well-made sequel that really definitely delivers.
Yeah, and again, we're not talking about Citizen Kane here. We're talking about Child's Play 2.
We're
but
talking about the second Killer Doll movie.
It's just really awesome time at the old multiplex. Great opening sequence here. Couldn't tell Eric,
the opening credits.
Yeah, the opening credits where they're sort of scraping off all the burnt toast crust off of the Chucky doll from the previous movie, cleaning him up, reassembling him. At that point, though, the doll had started to turn human. Are they like cleaning human teeth? Is that a real tongue? Like, what am I looking at with the mouth? Like, do they not notice that this is real enamel? Like,
there's a couple sides to this opening credits, which is there's a couple things that don't make sense at all, which is it seems like Chucky is like metal underneath, which he wouldn't be. He would be a lot more like, destroyed, like the understructure if he was like a real toy than what we see there. And B, it's you have to go with why did they rebuild him? They rebuild him to make sure everything's working properly. Sure. Because that aside, it's just fucking cool. Like the visuals of them, the burnt Chucky, scraping him off, and then like the horror idea of like, we are rebuilding this terrible thing. I want to mention Graham Revell, who did the score, because I love the score to this movie. It's the best score by far to any of the movies. Graham Revell did The Crow and Freddy vs. Jason. He's done a shitload of stuff, but I really love the score. He has a really great like theme for Chucky in this movie, and they never reused it. And I always thought, because Chucky doesn't have a theme like Jason and Freddy, like he doesn't have a repeatable theme, but this movie gave him one and they didn't ever use it again. So Matt, I was so happy because the trailer for the teaser for the TV show used Graham Revell's score.
Is it the sort of the creepy carnival music?
Yeah. There's two versions of it, but yeah. And so I don't know if they're going to use it in the show itself, but I did like that at least someone looking back on the entire franchise was like, this is the best thing to use for this teaser when we have nothing yet. That opening credits, it logically might not add up, but as a horror movie opening, it's a great opening.
Yeah, reassembling the monster, like you said, the audience is kind of like, no, why would you do this?
Right.
This is a bad idea. We're in the heart of Play Pal Toys after the scandal. I guess tabloids are writing about Andy and his mom. The boss, Mr. Sullivan, comes in. We've got Andy McDeal, Ally McBeals, Greg Gurman as a sort of a lackey named Matson. We're almost out of the 80s here in 1990, and it's still fun to kill yuppies. We've got like the Die Yuppie Scum character who is terrible because he says ciao. He also tries to use a gold card. I'm thinking of like really.
He doesn't carry cash.
Yeah,
a very funny thing because none of us carry cash anymore, but he was ahead at the time.
Yeah. Really douchebaggery things from 80s yuppiedom.
Has a car phone, all telltale signs of douche. Yeah, who must die.
And at the same time, we get some exposition, not just about stuff in the first movie, because Andy is now at a sort of a foster care center awaiting to go with a foster family because his mom's in psychiatric observation, which is hopeful, Eric, which means she could come out of it and be his mom again. Right now, she's being detained, can't be his mom. So it's not like she's locked up forever. Per this movie, he just needs a temporary home. But he's talking to, is he actually talking to Grace Zabiskie in this scene? Or is it someone else? No, it's someone else. But he's like, my doll had Charles Lee Ray in him. He was trying to take my soul.
They do the scene that they do, just in case you didn't see the first one.
And so you've got, just in case you didn't see the first one, and then you've got Madison and Mr. Sullivan, his boss, talking about what the fallout was. Mom's in psychiatric care. Very disappointingly, Eric, the police denied everything. So Mike Norris and his partner decided to betray the Barclays.
There's a questions there because we're just told the police, so we don't know if it was the department and they were silenced or whatnot. It gives you room to wiggle.
I know, but at no point in this movie, for everything Andy goes through again, does he say, "Just ask Detective Norris."
Right.
You know,
and also by
probably
the way,
got kicked off the force. Yeah,
they're a little fast and loose with the timeline, only because the way they're talking at the beginning of this movie, it feels like this is probably maybe a few weeks at the most, a few months after the first one. But Alex Vincent is clearly a couple years older, but you can't do anything about that.
What are you gonna do? Kids gotta eat, kids gotta grow.
Right.
Can't stop time. Time is the fire in which we burn.
Oh, before I forget, this movie is 84 minutes, but you know what movie is 3 minutes shorter at 81 minutes that we love? Also Universal horror sequel, Army of Darkness. Early 90s were delivering us some tight, great Universal horror sequels.
So I just mentioned Grace Zabriskie, who is famous for a lot of things, but near and dear to our hearts as from Twin Peaks,
Sarah Palmer,
and other David Lynchian things like Wild at Heart and Inland Empire. And so
this was the year she probably. I mean, I'm trying to guess filming wise if she filmed this like between the pilot and the first season, but this is a big year for Grace Zabriskie because Twin Peaks would have premiered in the spring. And season 2 would be airing when this movie came out in November 1990. So it was Grace's moment.
This was her, John Cusack, 1997.
Yes.
Okay, so exposition Andy's talking to the guy while he's playing Go Fish. The muckety mucks over at Play Pal Toys are trying to bury this. They can't find anything wrong with it. Although we get a scene that involves part of the rebuilding of Chucky. The final element, the piece de la resistance, which is Chekhov's eye gouger, inserting the eyeballs in. It obviously, because give the people what they want, comes back later. But in this moment, a lab tech is killed by just the power of Chucky's voodoo soul.
Yeah.
Just like zaps him through electrical bolts and sends him, sort of a 360 splash through the glass.
It's big. It's not as dramatic as the toy store basically blowing up at the beginning of the first one, but it's still like a mini explosion. It's like, they didn't do the full voodoo spell, but the Chucky voodoo still caused this guy to go flying.
And then Madsen asks what he should do with the doll, and Mr. Sullivan has a great idea.
He does have a great idea.
Stick it up your
ass. Yes.
Amazing line. I laughed at that so hard because I watched all the Chucky movies, including ones I hadn't even seen yet.
Yeah.
Just a few months back in the fall, because I had to do a sort of a Chucky video script for IGN. And that line I laughed so hard at. There's another moment that I cackled coming up at sort of in the middle of Act 2 here. But yeah, what a great line. So much so, but what my point is that I knew I had to put it in the script somewhere. So, because it is a standout line. Mr. Sullivan is the CEO we could all hope and dream for. So we've got The Simpsons, which is MCU's Jenny Agutter, and
we should. You keep saying MCU's Jenny Agutter. People might
she's
not
on
recognize.
The World Security Council.
She's in Avengers 1 in a very small moment just on the screens, but then in Winter Soldier, she is who Black Widow disguises herself as. So she gets to fight briefly because she's standing there when it's not really her, it's Black Widow. When they trick Robert Redford.
Wow, spoiler for Winter Soldier.
I think.
Right. And then Garrett Graham, who is in a ton of things,
like character actor number 25,
and voice actor and character actor. So the Simpsons take him in. The mom's really cool, but she's wrong. The dad's a dick, but he's right. So,
but also it's like when you're taking in foster kids, you're like, don't touch this valuable shit we keep.
Yeah, first of all, you shouldn't keep fragile family heirlooms
low to the floor.
Where you bring in foster children.
Yes,
because you're gonna get some bad seeds, and some of them are gonna break your priceless shit.
Or just kids. It might not be bad seeds. But
well, also Joanne, the mom, was super nice too because she's like, "What's your favorite food?" And he's like, "Eggs." And then she does make him eggs the next morning. Not only that, Eric, she makes him an egg salad sandwich for school. So I'm kind of afraid that all he's getting from her are eggs because he mentions it once.
Not another fucking egg dish. Jesus.
But also they were going to get him organic eggs because they were going to go to the organic food market.
Right.
So then, Chekhov's fragile statue as well. So we've got two things that we know are coming back. And then we get to Christina Lisa's Kyle. Christina Lisa, who's notable to us for 90210 and other things of this era, and TV and movies, mostly TV. Not really so much.
90210 is the thing that most people would know her from, though.
And she's wearing
infamously gave Brandon Euphoria their stand-in for ecstasy.
I don't know what that hat style is called, but it reminded me of what Eddie Murphy wore in The Golden Child. I'll just call it the Golden Child hat.
Sure.
And she's cool because she's got a Chandler Jarrell hat and she's smoking a cigarette. And she's kind of gruff. She's not a bitch. It's not like, hey, like bug off creep or squirt or whatever. Like she's,
Well, the idea is that she's put up a defenses because she's from the system.
She is, and
never got adopted.
She's on her way out of the system, and she's trying to earn some money, and they won't let her, which seems wrong. But anyway, meet Kyle, and then we see Andy's room, which is really cool. A lot of toys, including a new Good Gall doll variant that we hadn't seen before, Tommy.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him a variant, just another good guy.
I'm just saying there's been Oscar and there's been Tommy. We don't know how many other names are out there.
And they bring Eden Gross back to voice more good guy dialogue. Eden Gross was a working kid actor at the time. He was, just did a bunch of sitcom stuff. And he was Flounder on the Little Mermaid animated series. But in these early Child's Play movies, he was the good guy doll voice. So anytime they needed a hi, I'm Chucky, hi, I'm Tommy, Eden Gross was there to do his thing.
It's again, this movie is sort of get up and go because Chucky escapes immediately, gets in the back car of the yuppie, sort of very cleverly figures out a way to find out where Andy is. Kills the yuppie guy
by suffocation.
Yeah, not strangling, though he does strangle someone in this movie. But this is still it's strangling adjacent, suffocation.
And he did try to strangle Mike in the first movie in the car. That didn't work. So now he went for suffocation in the car.
So you know what he did? He made sure this guy pulled over first and tied him up. Then he did it. He's like, I'm not doing it with a guy who's driving a car down the streets of Chicago anymore. It's way too dangerous.
They also do a fun job of continuing the idea of I don't know how much stuff Play Pals makes that's not good guy adjacent, but they make a lot of good guy adjacent stuff. And we saw in the first movie, the toolkit and all the different stuff. And here it's the jump rope he ties him up with. He suffocates him with a Play Pals bag. I never noticed that actually until this time. That it has,
I didn't notice that either.
So it's this company's branding is very prevalent here.
So maybe I wouldn't call it a disappointment. It's just wasn't like the shock of the first movie. Obviously, the first time we see Chucky moving and animated, he's on the phone. It's not like I'm trying to remember the scene, and I was like, oh, maybe we just hear his voice and we know it's his voice. But no, it cuts back to him in the car and shows him literally moving. Kind of the first time we see it in this movie. I'm just saying it's not like a totally deflating moment, but it doesn't have the oomph that the first movie does, of course. But I just wonder why they did that, because we could figure it out, or did they not trust the audience to remember the cell phone? That's what Chucky's doing. We have to show him on the phone.
I mean, it's funny. You're right that's funny that is the moment we kind of see him really fully moving. Of course, like we talked about last week, now that we know his shtick, there's no reason to have it wait too long for him to be talking and doing stuff. So it happens much earlier. Now, did you notice, because I pointed it out, Matt, how they changed his look in this movie, and he's not even though he's I'm turning human and he's bleeding, his doll looks don't change in this one. And in fact, they up the doll looks, and I think in a fun way, they make the eyes huge, like these huge orbs. So they kind of make him.
Yeah, they gave him Alita Battle Angel eyes. Yeah,
right. Instead of doing the he's turning physically, the face becomes more human. They made him just kind of more. It's almost let's lean into the freaky of him being a happy doll. But I actually really like how he looks in this movie. I think
it looks great. So yeah, then immediately he's in the house. He's in the Simpsons house.
Yeah,
he makes it there. He's running through the halls. Even if you think, oh, this is going fast, is Andy dreaming? Nope, he's in the house.
Right.
And
great shot when it reveals him standing at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, that's really cool. And then he breaks the family heirloom of the MCU's Jenny Agutter, and then smashes poor Tommy's face to bits, and then takes Tommy's place, buries him in the backyard, cackling maniacally to the point where the whole neighborhood could wake up. But there is thunder, so maybe like the way he disguised his fart by smashing the Jack in the Box, he disguised he hid his cackles amongst the thunder of the storm as he buries him in the backyard. Takes his place.
It is. I want to say it is funny because when Tommy says, "Hi, I'm Tommy," Chucky says, "Shut up, idiot!" But then he gets so loud, like quote unquote, killing Tommy. But at least they do have Andy hear it. Like they do point out that Chucky is not being quiet. So.
Well, even then, when like Andy is like having a fight with Chucky later in the basement, the dad's like, "Oh, styrofoam cup," like something. Sorry, that was a freaked reference, but like he hears it like 3 stories away with a closed door in the cellar. He's like, something's going on, and the TV's on. So like so much is happening. Then it leads to a very funny moment when Andy's checking out Tommy, and Chucky himself, who's disguised as Tommy, has to pause a little bit because he can't remember what the name of that doll was. He's like, "Hi, I'm."
And he looks to the side. It's a very funny beat that is done through the magic of the puppet looking to the side. And they clearly had Eden Gross do a hesitant read on "Hi, I'm Tommy." So,
and all this time, Kyle and Andy have started to bond, and she sees that he's a kid who's being blamed for things already, and like. He's like taking a drag of her cigarette, telling her some really good jokes. Like he's like that. Want to hear me say your name backwards joke is really good.
Pretty solid.
I wish I had a joke that good when I was like his age.
He picked it up in the he smokes a cigarette. He picked it up in the Foster place. Yeah. I want to know what is the story behind Tommy? Did one of the foster kids bring it and leave it? Only because Garrett Graham, what's that character's name? But he just shucks, no pun intended. He throws it down the stairs. I'm like, that's $100 doll, man.
I know, but they're rich. Like they get the organic eggs, Eric. Like they've got money. Did you see that statue that was been in their family forever?
That's true. All right.
So again, like this movie doesn't waste time. It's like before you know it, literally Andy's tied up in the bed and Chucky's on top of him trying to take his soul. Like he's not wasting any time here, killing other people and blaming Andy for it. He's just trying to get inside Andy's body. That sounds bad, but and then he's only saved because Kyle's sneaking in from having, I think she was on a date or something. And and the fact that
he punches him. I like that one.
He punches him off the bed. Chucky can't retaliate because he has to go Toy Story limp. And then the parents think Kyle tied up Andy. And then the next morning, Kyle's like, "Andy, how did you tie yourself up?" So they are actually addressing the fact that this kid tied himself up. How did he do that? Like they're
right.
Because that would be my first question is how did you do any of this? And they do it. So there's very little that gets overlooked in this movie. Like I think it's really well done. Like I've already said that, but then Andy has to go off to school for the first day. So Chucky gave it his best shot. Just out of pure dumb luck, Chucky messed up. His plan's been foolproof so far, but Kyle kind of ruined it. Now Andy's off to school. He can't do it there. Andy in school, first of all, he's got to deal with like a pissant bully behind him who's flicking his ear. He's got an egg salad sandwich that's been in a bag for like 4 hours. He's not having a good day. And then like he's trying to complain about the basically physical assault from the guy behind him. And what's her name? Miss Ketterwell? Beth Grant, who's been in everything. I think we even mentioned her on a previous podcast. And
probably
she was in Speed.
No, she was in Speed on the Bus, and she was a regular on the Mindy Project. She's been in 10 million things, including Brian Fuller, who Don Mancini would write for Hannibal. So there's a whole little circular thing here. But Brian Fuller has used Beth Grant a lot, playing the same character. There's a little Fuller verse if you pay attention to these little side characters. So she played the same character on Wonder Falls, Pushing Daisies, and the Mockingbird Lane pilot. She's been a lot, and she's a friend of Carol Goldman. Once in a while, we'll talk about a character actor my mom knows, and that's Beth Grant.
I just saw her in Willy's Wonderland. Yeah. All right. So very famous.
She's my mom's Facebook friend. I see them like each other's stuff on Facebook.
And she's like, "Fuck you, Beth. You stole my casserole recipe." I think that of the Child's Play franchise, it's one of the more memorable standout deaths that they people remember a lot. The killing of Miss Kettlewell.
They use the image of him with the ruler still gets used quite a bit.
A ton.
It's been memed too, but also official uses of it. Yeah,
he grossly stabs her with a ball pump. Then the beating to death with the ruler, very brutal. With the music, the carnival Chucky music going along with it, and it's really cool. And now, at this point, at least Andy wasn't blamed for another murder, because I don't think they discover her body. Right. Because maybe it's a Friday. I don't know. But the part that had me howling was when he really gets in trouble. It's because she's flipping through the papers, and on Andy's paper it says, "Fuck you, bitch."
Right.
Sometimes I don't. So Chucky's plans seem really good. And then sometimes Chucky's impulsiveness, just like he can't help himself. Like, I don't know what he was trying to do.
I mean, I think he was trying to get Andy in trouble because, I mean, she freaking locks him in, which cannot be legal. Certainly not today.
But he wouldn't know she'd do that. I'm just saying.
He didn't know. He's thinking he's playing 4D chess. He has a very funny another moment where he's going, "I promise I won't kill anyone else," when he wants Andy to let him out of the closet.
And then at the end when he's gonna die in the factory, he's like, "No, please, Andy." Like, why does he ever think that Andy has anything but pure hatred for him? Like, why does he try to think that pleading to him, he was never his friend as a doll? They weren't together that long enough.
I mean, they were briefly friends, but
there was never "Please, I'm your friend." No, that's always his last resort, and it's always sort of amazing because it's never going to work.
I do like there's a sad little emotional moment for poor Andy here who goes, "Doesn't matter. Wherever I go, Chucky will find me." He's just he's already I am fine.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
So, foster dad's pissed off. Andy's decided he's going to be proactive Andy this time around. And you got to hand it to the kid. He grabs that electric knife, goes down to the cellar, has a brawl to settle it all with Chucky. Chucky fight in the basement, the one the dad hears.
The one funny thing, because Kevin Yeager and the animatronics in these movies are great, and Chucky looks great. The one thing they couldn't do, is certainly not technology back then, is his little legs. Whenever you see his full body and his legs are just kicking, that's the most they could do.
Yeah, or even just his legs are always limp because when he takes Chucky in the third act takes both Kyle and Andy hostage separately, just holding a knife to their throat and making them do things, and one is he's literally kind of piggybacking on Andy while Andy's running into the factory, and it just looks like this little limp doll legs. So here's another question for you, Eric. What was Chucky's plan when the dad comes in and Chucky trips him with whatever that thing is, and the dad's briefly hanging upside down, and Chucky decides to reveal himself to him?
Yeah.
A couple things. One is the fall doesn't kill the dad. It does. It breaks his neck. But if it didn't, the dad just now knows Chucky's alive.
Right.
If it does kill him, now Andy's taken away.
Right.
There was no good that could come from either of the scenarios that of killing the dad in this.
He's improvising. He's in the moment.
I'm saying this is him being impulsive, and he's messing up his own plan
and his bloodlust. I'm
saying that this causes him ruin at the end, because by the end when he tries to do the ceremony, he's already too far gone. This wasted valuable time. It had Andy taken away from him.
Yeah.
But this is the big turn for me, is the moment when the mom who you've think is going to be his new caring mom MCU's Jenny Agutter.
Yes.
You think she's super nice, but once she sees her dead husband, dead Phil, she's like, get away from me. Like, she hates Andy now. And it's not long after that she is killed, strangled. So she gets strangled by her own knitting. But
which, by the way, in my memory, I actually misremembered that creepier than it was. I think because she is gagged. I thought in my memory he'd like stitched her mouth shut or something like more grotesque because she's sitting at the sewing machine. So my mind conflated that stuff into something worse.
So at that point, it really becomes the Chucky and Kyle story. The Andy and Kyle story, because the mom's wants nothing to do with Andy. She literally thinks he's a psychopath and has, not only killed her husband, but also, maybe more importantly, broke her statue.
Right. Unforgivable. I made you goddamn eggs.
Made you that sandwich too. I have like 50 eggs in the fridge. What am I supposed to do with them now? So, so she's killed. And then it becomes like Andy kind of vanishes from the story very briefly because it has to become a sort of a Kyle story where she's checking around the house. She, finds Tommy buried in the backyard, checks the trash can. The Chucky's gone. Tommy's buried. It's well done. And then she is actually taken hostage and has to drive a car with sort of Chucky riding shotgun. I don't know what the ultimate point of the scene where the cop pulls her over was, except for maybe just suspense, because Chucky doesn't kill the cop.
He doesn't get it's a very funny moment when he goes, "What's your name, buddy?" And it's Brad Dourif's voice going, "Chucky," like pissed off. That was a very funny moment, but you're right, it doesn't need to be there. Also, I didn't need I get it. It's said by Chucky, so it's not like we're supposed to root for it, but the goddamn women drivers felt a little...
It feels very much like something Charles and Ray would say.
Given where we go with the series, it fits. I guess they will make it work with where Chucky keeps going in this series.
Given that probably like 80% of stand-up comedians in the 80s had a women driver routine,
true,
some sort. It's very much of the era, but also, so proactive Kyle too. Like, she tries her best. Like, after the cop leaves, she does the whole like puts her seatbelt on and sends Chucky through the windshield trick. Then she even tries to like smash him with the car. Meanwhile, so when does this happen? I'm looking at my notes. I'm trying to think when this happened. When does he say playtime's over?
That I don't remember. I didn't put that line down. I remember him saying it.
Well, I remember it because I think Eric Bischoff said that when he was during the Monday Night Wars or something.
When Chucky was,
I think it was around the time when Superstation got branded where the big boys play.
Sure. But this is when Kyle has to take takes Chucky to the foster home, and there's a beat here I really like, just because it's a silent beat, but I think it's really well done, which is Andy coming down the stairs with all the kids, and then he sees Kyle standing there holding Chucky, and I just really like, because Kyle looks really sad and Andy looks at her sad, and it's kind of like I told you. Like, I can't escape him, and now she's stuck in this too. And I just like how they look at each other really sad, because this is fucked up, isn't it?
Oh, you know who says playtime's over? Simon Pegg in Hot Fuzz, when he smashes the peace lily over the hound's head because he distracts him with the monkey.
I'd like to believe that was a Child's Play 2 reference.
I do too, because they even call it out, because when Nick Frost is like, "Did you say anything fun to him?" and he's like, "Yeah, I said playtime's over."
There you go.
Okay. And so then we've got the killing of Laura Palmer's mom in the Xerox machine.
Which also has, I don't know if you saw him, it would have been late night for you when I was watching this movie last night, but I really like, when Chucky reveals himself to people before he kills them, either he just kills them and they kind of don't realize it was a doll, or they see him and maybe he makes the like, "How's it hanging, Phil" pun. But I really love the "amazing, isn't it?" It's just such a weird thing that he does with her. He basically just makes sure he fucks with her before he kills her.
Wait, does that have anything to do with like her personality or something she said, or is that just a weird?
No, it's just, I think it's really just him saying, isn't it crazy? I'm a talking doll. And she has to process that for 2 seconds, and then he slices her neck. And he stabs her a bunch. Yeah. So I really like Amazing, Isn't It? It's simple but effective.
Then we've got the third act showdown, really awesome showdown in the Play Pal good guy doll assembly toy factory. That it's just great. I like it. The maze of boxes.
Great. And again, money wise, like this is money that would never be spent on a standard slasher sequel today, but even back then it is. And Universal got this franchise. Again, the first movie cost more than a standard slasher movie, but this looks like a lot of money went into this set and all those boxes. And
it's colorful, like the yellow boxes. Yeah. And the machines are colorful too. Like,
yeah, it's not realistic, but that's fine. It works as this like heightened thing. I forgot. I'm glad of course, I'm remembering now to talk about this. You would remember, Matt, because it was in our apartment together. But for many, many years, until about a year or two ago when I sold it on eBay, I had one of the boxes from that set.
Yes, I do remember, of course.
Because as I mentioned last week with Liv, again, the cost of making hundreds and hundreds of boxes meant they were not going to build the little half dolls to go in the window. So in this movie, it's all just a photo cover, but they made so many of those boxes. Look at that sequence. And it's, even if I'm sure they're cheating and doubling the same like aisles more than once, but it's still a lot.
It's still a
lot. But a guy who worked for my dad, his uncle was Dick Warlock, who is a very famous stuntman who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2, but he has a shitload of credits, a lot of John Carpenter movies, as a stuntman and stunt coordinator. And he was a stunt coordinator in Child's Play 2, which is my long story of how I ended up with one of the good guy boxes from that sequence and had it for the next 30 years. The end.
Yeah, I remember the box. That's my part of the story.
Yes.
Me remembering the box exists. And kind of also turning the third act into something very different than the first movie, which is that Chucky he literally actually technically wins. He successfully does the voodoo ritual. It's just he's out of time. And it didn't work because he's already full human. And now all he wants to do is kill Andy. He's pissed off. He wants to kill Andy. That's the end of the movie. And so it's really just sort of escaping Chucky's wrath. Because
now there's no reason to keep Andy alive. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so cool thing like climbing up like the roller, the slide with the rollers on it. And like Andy slides down it and Chucky pops up. Chucky like rips his own hand off and like shoves a blade in there and makes a blade hand. Like it's all just really cool.
That is really cool. And I think they realized, because Burnt Chucky was great at the end of the first one. So the idea of like changing Chucky continues here with the Blade Hand, which has now been turned into a toy. I have the Funko of Blade Hand Cart Chucky. So yeah, the idea that like, hey, Chucky is a character we can deck out in different ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. And at this point in the movie, people may have forgotten the eye gouger from the first scene. And even if they did remember it,
well, it wasn't an eye gouger. It was an eye putter.
It was an eye putter that also gouges. It's a eye gouger / inserter.
Sure.
And it, but then even if you did remember it and you see it in action, because you see it like the doll's getting it, you're like, who's going to get killed with this? There's only these three characters. Nope. Right. They've got the sleepy security guard on the graveyard shift who runs in and gets the extended sequence of getting his eyes, plunged in with new eyes. So
with the doll eyes, which is a great visual.
Give the people what they want. And,
it's all great. I love the there's like the sort of winding around overhead, like little hanging pieces of dolls. Then there's that thing where like the plastic is molded that turns into like a weird fused up.
It's like a doll monstrosity that
And lots of fun stuff here. Again, I think purposely kind of over the top production design. Like it's even funny the fact that they can't get to the exit door unless they climb under the eye putter. I don't know about the design of I don't know if PlayPal's design is up to code, but it makes for a great visual.
Yeah, very video gamey. I don't know, and in that regard, like I don't know how Chucky had the design or the strength to rig up that security guard he killed, like to swing on the hook thing. But it just all works. And then we've got, the first movie went out in a big way. And I like the idea of these movies because you make a movie not assuming you're going to get a sequel. So the first movie gave us a hell of an ending with like 3 fake out deaths or him coming back to life multiple times. And so they're going to do it again, but they have to top themselves. Again, assuming you're not going to make a third movie, perhaps, go out big. You've got, he's lost his legs, he's lost his hands. Then he gets melted with wax. So you've got melted. You had crispy Chucky in the first movie.
Again, the not at the code thing. I'm like, this place has like boiling, dripping plastic that almost gets Andy just because.
Yeah, this place is basically Axis chemicals. Right. And then the Kyle gets the final kill here, where she puts the air pump in his mouth. Very briefly makes him look like an actual Cabbage Patch Kid, because that's kind of what they look like before he explodes all over the place. And scene, just kind of almost sort of like get out right after the final fight, like the Karate Kid movies, where it's like after they end, it's just like, hooray.
Although there's the thing of like, I think Andy's like, where are we going, or what are we going to do? Yeah.
No, they head off into the night.
Because they're too. I mean, he's not technically an orphan, but yeah, it's just like they have no parental figures. They just had to stop the killer doll. Who knows what the future holds for them? And
they just become the like leading manufacturers of nuke and all.
Right, it all ties together. And the great Graham Revell score hits in with that theme that they should have reused in the future sequels, but didn't. This is like a. To me, this is like a Die Hard 2 situation of just the sequel that just works. Like, and I guess I'm using a movie that some people are like, oh, I don't like Die Hard 2, but I'm thinking about a sequel that like, it doesn't like break the mold. It's not like, oh, they did something so different. It's just like, we know what you like and we can deliver it very well and tighter. And we kind of like can lean into all the things you liked about the first movie.
Yeah. Literally like, what were your favorite songs from the first set? Let's just do them again, but louder. And
right. Yeah. I mean, Friday 13th 2 is like this, which is better than the first one. I actually like, even though I like the first better in this case, I think it's still a comparable situation. I see why you like this one more, because it's like, yeah, we saw what worked about the first, we saw what you liked, and we can really work with that, and they do a very good job of that with this movie.
All right. Next week, everyone, Child's Play 3.
My final anecdote about Child's Play 2.
Oh, that's right. What were you going to say about it?
I was going to say about this movie. This movie gave me some cool stuff, Matt. It fell into my life. And so the Chucky box is obviously like, as a collector, that was like a very cool thing because it was actually from a prop from the movie. But the other thing that happened with this movie is I saw this movie twice opening day because I'm me and I'm a kid who's so into these movies. So I saw it at the Avco Westwood, RIP. This theater.
I remember that theater. Yeah.
Saw it at like noon on Friday, November 9th. And then I came back and saw like the 7 p.m. show. And because I mean, I don't know if I had this pre-planned, but I was pretty sure I was going to dig this movie. I was very excited for it by those Sorry Jack Chucky's back trailers, and it delivered everything I want. So I saw it again. I was standing in the lobby with my friend after that 7 p.m. show, and a guy, like an adult man, walks up to me. But this is a good story. But he says, "Hey, what movie did you just watch?" And I go, "Child's Play 2. What'd you think of it?" I go, "I loved it. This is my second time seeing it today." And he goes, What? I go, "Yeah, I saw it earlier today." And then he like grabs his friend. He's like, "This kid saw this movie twice today." And he's really excited. And then he said, "My name's David Kirshner. I produced this movie."
Oh, you're exactly what he wanted to hear.
Yes.
It's like it's like you were a paid mark, but you weren't. Like
right.
It's like
I know. And either he personally or maybe the guy who was with it was his assistant. All I know is he actually took down, had me give my address. Again, it is funny that I was a kid who just gave this man my address. But the point is, he said what he was going to do, and he did it, which is he sent me a Child's Play 2 t-shirt, which I would then wear for many years with the poster, Sorry Jack Chucky's back, on it, which now they've actually been making a million times again because this movie's continues to be popular. But yes, that was how I met David Kirshner, got a free Child's Play 2 shirt. And became Chucky fan #1 in his heart.
That beats my story about seeing this movie, which is I thought I saw it with you.
But you did not.
So apparently I somehow saw it, and I don't know who I saw it with.
Because you were not at the Avco.
Or even if I saw it alone, or I don't know.
But again, possible, Matt. I'm just formulating possibilities here. Maybe you did see it with me if you came to see your dad a few weeks later for the holidays, and it would still have been playing because it opened on November 9th. Maybe we saw it together. So that is a possibility.
I mostly saw him in the summer
because as we know,
I saw him in the Sometimes I saw him at during the holidays.
As we know, Eric didn't just see movies he liked twice. He saw movies he liked many, many, many times.
No, that's true. Over and over again.
Yeah.
All right. Now, for next week, Child's Play 3, a movie I liked, even though it's not one of the best movies. I still liked it. Commendable because it still continues the story.
I think I'm a little weaker on it, but we will discuss. And we'll tell our mobster story next week when we talk about
I don't remember having a mobster story, Eric.
All right. It's not a great story, but it's just a story.
Was it about how we met the director of Mobsters and he gave you a
Mobsters t-shirt?
A Costas Mandalore t-shirt?
No, it's not, unfortunately, about that.
All right. Until then, everything's possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.
Shakma.